Talks. So you guys know that this show was created so that everyday people can live extraordinary lives. And it's really meant to be a conversation about all things that makes life either crappy or great, right? So today we're going to talk about relationships, right? Relationships. We just had Valentine's Day. Let me get the light popping here and get the chat activated. So we are live and I want your feedback. I want to know who's here and all of that. Okay, so today we're going to talk about relationships. So we just had Valentine's Day, all about love. And, some people are feeling some kind of way about Valentine's Day, whether in a relationship or in their bad relationship, or they have just broken up for a relationship. All kinds of reasons why people may be salty about Valentine's Day. So it got me to thinking, like, how do you know when your relationship is just dragging on? Like, it hasn't really met your expectations, but you don't know whether you should stay or go or tough it out, right? Just tough it out. So as we're talking about relationships, I want to present you guys to one thing. For women, because I'm going to be speaking mostly to women, but this also applies to men as well. Relationships have different stages. So at the very beginning of our lives, right, the goal of relationship to build family and marriage and a legacy and have children, right, is different from somebody who may have been in a relationship before and wants something different, like doesn't want to have children or build a family, maybe just wants to have someone to spend time with. So those are different ways that, like, we can't just put a blanket statement on what it means to be in a relationship. But there is a point where you're in a relationship and it's just kind of substandard, right? It's not, it's there, the person is there. You're not really feeling whole or fulfilled or excited, but you also don't want to let go of that person, because then what are you going to do? So the first thing I want you guys to presence yourself with, and I use this, you guys, I have my coaching course, a mindset makeover, and this is something that everybody needs to think about because it helps to direct your course. What do you want? What do you truly want? And until you figure that out, it's difficult to know what your next best step is. What is your next best step? So if you don't know what direction that you're heading, you could end up anywhere. You know what I mean? So the question, what do you want in a relationship? So at the very beginning, I'll tell you that we are conditioned to believe, and this doesn't really apply to everybody, but for the majority of people, that, in relationships when we're younger, you should fall in love and get married and have kids and have your happily ever after. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of work on what it looks like to actually nurture and develop a high quality relationship. There's no relationship school out there. You can't get your master's degree in relationships. There's nothing that really teaches us how to have like a 10-10 relationship where you're constantly working on not only building yourself up, but being in better relation with your partner, right? So when you figure that out, right, it's going to be easier for you to move along that relationship journey. But there's some things that I want you guys to really consider. What do you want? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? Do you want somebody to grow old with? What are your goals for the relationship? Because sometimes you can be in a relationship and feel like you're stuck, feel like you're going nowhere, because you are. You are going nowhere and you are stuck, right? So first thing I want to say is that we got to be careful when we make our choices, that we're not making choices based on a deficit, you guys. And this is how that happens. If you're in a relationship and it's almost like an investment in time and an emotion and your body and money, right? It's an investment. And so when you make an investment in something, you always want to have a great return, right? So how do you know, like if you are invested in anything, whether it's Bitcoin or in real estate, how do you know when it's time to cut your losses and move on and say, you know what, I invested this and I'm done? Or I'm going to stay in it for the long haul and hopefully get a great return. It's kind of like that with relationships, you guys, because when you get into a relationship at the very beginning, right, it's all super fun and dandy, but as time goes on, you start to get emotionally invested. You get emotionally invested, and you might be emotionally invested in a situation that doesn't really serve you, right? And then men and women are different, right? Because I think men typically fall more at the beginning, and then women fall more after they've had some time invested, and then the men's behavior changes a little bit and the women are invested, right? So then they stay in this relationship longer than they would if they didn't feel like they had this emotional investment. So you get to ask yourself, am I emotionally invested in the right person and the right situation, or am I just emotionally invested and I don't want to take a loss? Ooh, okay, that's point one. The other thing is physically invested, right? When you start to give your body, right, your body in relationship, that's why you got to be careful on who you are getting into intimate relationships with, because there is a hormone that is actually secreted in your body called oxytocin. And that oxytocin bonds you to the other person. And it forms after about 6 weeks of repetitive behavior or interaction with the person. And it actually clouds your judgment, right? The person becomes more handsome or more beautiful, and you overlook more things because that oxytocin is flowing, and it clouds your judgment. So you get to make sure that your physical investment with someone is not actually clouding your judgment on whether this relationship is right for you, right? So when you get emotionally invested, physically invested, you tend to stay in situations that don't serve you or that are not in alignment with what you want for your life, right? But you still feel stuck. You still feel stuck. Another thing is that financial or economic investment. Sometimes people find themselves living with somebody, cohabitating to save money, but they're freaking miserable, right? Like you're doing it to pay the bills, but you don't really feel like this is the right person or the right situation for you, and you don't know how to get out of it, and you're just stuck. You're just stuck. Because if you can't move out on your own and you don't want to do anything, well, I might as well just stay and work it out. Now, here's what I want to say about that, you guys. When you have your emotions, when you have your body, and when you have the stress level of finances wrapped into a relationship that doesn't serve you, it's toxic. It's toxic. Because if you're in it for those reasons only, then that negative energy from feeling like, oh, I have these emotions, but I know that this is not the right person for me, I just don't know how to break away, or oh, I'm addicted to him physically, but I'm not fulfilled spiritually, or oh, like if I could afford to move out on my own, I would, so I just sort of sit here and take it. Those are toxic situations. And when you have that toxicity in your body, it builds what's called free radicals, which causes like a lot of illnesses and cancer and things like that. So that's why I wanted to bring this topic up, because like if you're stuck in a situation and you're thinking that there's no way out, your body, okay, is going to start to give you examples of illnesses and headaches and stomach aches and things like that, signs that this situation is not working for your best and your highest and greatest good. So I want you guys to think about this. When you're in a relationship, and it's going on and you haven't really made a decision, you get to really focus on what is your vision for yourself in love? What is your vision for yourself with your significant other? What is your vision for yourself in your future, right? And when you have that vision, it makes you make better choices, and it's really up to the woman, because contrary to popular belief, it's women who actually in relationships that haven't been good for a long time, because finally they say enough is enough. Where men typically don't like to let go, I mean, they'll stay in a relationship that's not that good. They might look outside the relationship, they might do whatever, but letting go, as long as they have some part of that relationship, some part of you, they're good, right? So they're just not programmed in the same way as women are, like that it has to be right or perfect or whatever. They'll kind of stay and then supplement, right? Take supplements or just be miserable or whatever, right? And this could go vice versa, women the same thing. So, but you get to make that choice for you on whether this is what you want. And once you figure it out, right, then don't lie to yourself anymore. I remember when I was younger, my first boyfriend, I think we were like 17 or something like that. And it started off great. And then he started doing all these things, you guys, like weird things, like not calling me back or just like not being loving. And I remember writing like long letters, like, I just was wondering why this is like not the same as it was and this and that. And he'd be like, what do you mean? And I was thinking that I was going crazy, right? So what I learned over the years is that men, instead of breaking up with you, they will behaviorally break up with you, right? Until it becomes so obvious, and they'll hope that their behavior will be such that you will finally say enough is enough, and they won't have to say it. Otherwise, they'll just keep on going with their behavior because they really don't want to break up. I mean, you have some great things about you, right? And it'll just stay in the relationship for a long time, and then one day you'll look up and you'll be like, oh my God, like how did I get here? Right? So should your relationship have a deadline? Right? Should your relationship have a deadline? Should you decide, okay, like, you know what? If this is not really going towards my vision after X amount of time, should I cut it off? Right? And I would say yes. Right? And the reason why I would say yes is because the only reason why you would stay in a relationship that doesn't work for you is because you have a mentality of scarcity. There's not enough men, there's not enough relationships, there's not enough love, right? There's not enough, there's not enough, there's not enough. Instead of believing that you can have something that's fulfilling and loving and growing, right? So you get to have a belief that you deserve. Remember yesterday's workout? That you deserve and you're worthy of love. Now, I do have to say though that, listen, ladies, like you got to bring your whole self to a relationship. So some people bring their broken hearted, disgruntled, angry self to a relationship and are wondering why it's not working out. Well, that will be like wherever you go, there you are. If you don't do the work on yourself, you will bring your same broken-hearted, disgruntled, angry self to every relationship, right? And then it's not about the other person, it's about you, right? It's about you. If you take your past experiences into your present situations, you will get the same result. Ooh, okay? So you get to do the work on yourself first, right? Before you even get into a relationship, and stop expecting the man or a relationship to fill you up or make you whole. You get to love yourself first, right? So I'm going to give advice for different generations, right? Different generations. So for the younger generation who wants to get married and who wants to have children, I would say definitely take your time before you jump into a sexual relationship. Take your time before you jump into a sexual relationship. Why? Because you can get bonded with that person and your judgment can be obscured. And next thing you know, you're in the relationship and you're saying and doing all the right things with the wrong person. Okay? So take your time before you get into a sexual relationship. And then you get to decide, right? What do you want in your relationship? Do you want to have children with this man? Do you want to get married with this man? And if you're in a situation where you really don't, then you get to cut it off at a point. Because there is a point between you like, oh, we're just having fun, we're just dating, to then when you get attached emotionally, physically, and financially, and then you're just stuck in the relationship for a long time. So there's that hazy, nebulous stage where you just went a little bit too far and now you're stuck, right? So you get to be very clear about what you want and be okay with saying, listen, ladies, be okay with saying, this is not what I want for my life, right? So don't just be in something because it's convenient. That's selling yourself short. That's settling, right? So if you're in a relationship and you're dating and it's fun, but there's gonna be signs. And like Maya Angelou says, people show you who they are in the beginning. There's gonna be signs in the beginning that you can say, okay, is this for me or is this not for me, right? And it's not for you, then you get to cut it off, right? Because it's not going to improve, right? There's certain quality or characteristics in people that will remain the same. And if you say, you know what, this is definitely not for me, then you get to cut it off and move on. If it's something that you guys can talk about and work through, and you guys come to a meeting of the minds, like, you know what, we want to work towards supporting and loving and actually relating to each other on a deeper level, and we're going to put the work in, then yes, like maybe this is what you can say, I want this, I want to work on this, right? But if you don't have a meeting of the minds and you're doing your thing, he's doing your thing, and it's like, oh, we're having fun, you're going to get to that point where that fun is going to become a habit, and then you're going to be emotionally, financially, physically, chemically, mentally bonded with the wrong person. And then you're going to have all this whole hard time trying to get out of it, untangle it, and then you're going to feel toxic and upset and dissatisfied, and you're trying to get out of it. And when you break out of it, the habit is so strong, you'll not even know if you made the right choice, right? So yes, you should definitely put a deadline on it. And you should look for qualities in a person, right, that you have yourself, right? So some people say, I want somebody who's like loyal, confident, wealthy, handsome, and then you bring your little tore down, broke self to the relationship and expect it to work, right? Vibrations match vibrations, right? So you get to do the work on yourself, so you're the kind of mate that you would want to date. Woo! Hello! That is a quotable moment. Be the kind of mate that you would like to date. Okay, be the kind of mate that you would like to date. Okay, so say you've already had your kids, right? And you want to get into a relationship, and you already have children. Well, then you get to be really careful, right, with who you bring into your intimate circle, because you don't want to bring somebody into your circle out of convenience, and then you've got your children attached and you're attached, and then you figure like, oh, like this is not really working. This is not the person. So you get to make a choice about whether you're going to date for fun or date for longevity. And that is that, again, there's a certain amount of time when you're with this person, and then you can make that choice, like, is this working or is it not? And when you think it's not working, you guys, be brave enough, be courageous enough, believe in yourself enough to say, hey, this is not working. Doesn't mean that it's personal, but it means that I get to fill my cup up, right? I get to fill my cup up and maintain the vision of what I want for my life, right? And that also releases that person to find what they want in their life, right? So we get to believe abundantly, not scarcity. Like, this is the last man on earth. Oh no, it's the last man, okay? So don't believe that. Okay, so if you're in a relationship and you already have children, you want to move forward, then you get to really make sure that the choices that you make with that person are something that can go for the long haul before you get emotionally, financially, physically, intellectually bonded with them, right? So again, the same thing. Sometimes people just get in a relationship and they want to have sex. And you just want to have sex and you don't want to have anything deep. You know, this is great. I just want to have sex and it's amazing. I just want to be with this person. But guess what? They say there's a book called 11 Minutes by Paulo Coelho, and it talks about how most people's sex lasts like 11 minutes, right? And so you can't make all of your decisions based on 11 minutes, even if it's an hour, right? You can't make all of your decisions based on what you do for an hour, a day, a month, a week, or whatever, right? So the sex may be great, but guess what will happen? Then you will start to get chemically bonded with that person, and it might be a person that does not meet your needs. So you have to make sure that you're able to say, hey, it's time to cut this off because I want something different for my life. I want something different for my life. And when you stay in a situation that's not working, you're actually blocking your blessings. You're blocking your blessings, right? Because you have a toxic energy, you're unhappy, right? So you're not going to attract somebody that's happy. When you're in a relationship and you're unhappy, your whole vibe is unhappy, right? And you're going to attract more unhappiness in your life. So when you clear the relationship and make yourself whole and happy, you're going to attract a whole and happy mate. A whole and happy mate. Like attracts like. Like attracts like, right? So if you're in something that's not working, you have to ask yourself, where am I not valuing myself? Where am I not holding myself high? I'm holding myself low, where I'm staying in a relationship that doesn't serve me, okay? That's the question that you guys get to ask yourself. And then if you say you've already had your children, you don't have children, you don't want to have any more children, and you're later in life dating, what do you want? What do you want at that point? Do you want somebody to travel with? Do you want somebody to watch Netflix with at night? Do you want somebody to plan adventures with? Do you want somebody just to be with you, to go to the movies? And is that what you want in a relationship? And does that require marriage? Does that require that you live together? what do you want, right? And so you can be in a relationship with someone and you decide, you know what, I like my space, he likes his space, and then you don't have to get married. You can be in a committed relationship with that person and having your space and not live together. That can work. That is a scenario. Or you can say, you know what, I want to be together and I don't want to be married, right? And then maybe you keep your finances separate so that if it doesn't work out, you can go your own separate ways. Or you can say, you know what, I really value being in a committed relationship. So I want to make sure, because when you value being in a committed relationship, especially in the second part of your life, you get to look for qualities. You've grown a lot. You know what you want. You get to look for qualities in that person that you know can go for the long term, right? Do you listen to one another, right? Do you care about each other's dreams and visions, right? It's not just about you. It's about the us and the union. Where do you want to go? Are you able to talk about your future with that person? Are you able to trust that person? All of these things are important in a relationship, but you got to know what you want first. So, should relationships just drag on when you know they're not working? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. If it's not working for you, right, then you get to work on you. Hello, another quotable moment. If it's not working, you get to work on you, right? So pull back and take that time to figure out, okay, what do I want for my life? And am I the type of person that I want to date? And if so, okay, what am I looking to accomplish with my mate, right? You guys got that? You got that? Okay. So if it's not working for you, that means you get to pull back and work on you. Don't just jump into something else, right? Because you're used to being attached emotionally, financially, physically, intellectually. Take that time and fill up your cup so you can bring your whole self to your next relationship. All right, you guys, I hope that message served you. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. You can type them in right now about relationships. As you know, I'm a transformational leadership coach. I have a course called the Mindset Makeover, and it really basically covers all things you, right? All things you, how you show up in the world for your career, for your family, and your relationships. It covers all things, because no matter where you go, there you are, right? No matter where you go, there you are. Listen to that. So whether it's in your work life, your family life, your relationships, it's you take yourself wherever you are. So that work on self is super important, you guys. And there's no other way that we really get it unless we seek it, right? You can go and get a master's degree. You can become a doctor. You can become a CEO of a business. You can get married and be married for 50 years and have tons of kids and grandkids and still not have done the work on self, right? So that's what I encourage us all to do. Work on self-love, become the CEO of being you. All right, you guys, I love you. And if you have any questions, type them in the chat. I'll be checking the chat. See you next time.